Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we prepare for race number 18 of Season 6 of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. Live here from Cicero, Illinois. This is the Chicago Motor Speedway. Sixth time we've come here to this racetrack. It's been a mainstay on the schedule since Season 1, and it's brought about some very exciting finishes, played its part into drivers advancing their way into the playoffs, and we are looking forward to seeing what it has in store for us here today, coming off the heels of last week's race at the Iowa Speedway, which saw our second multi-time winner on the season. Mitchell Collins now joins Destin Bolin. Collins now with 2 wins, Bolin with 3. Everybody else that's going to victory lane has 1 victory apiece, and things are getting very interesting around that playoff grid, which we'll look at in just a moment. First, let's highlight our front row. RJ Bishop has been a qualifying machine this year, as this is going to be his 4th career pole on the season. He'll be leading us to green alongside of Charles Sanford. Now, RJ Bishop has kind of free-falling a bit through the point standings. He was at one point in the playoffs via points, but he now finds himself 16th in the standings. He is, right now, if my math is really quickly correct in my head, he's 25 points, I believe, behind the final spot in the playoffs, which would be the number 16 seed currently held by Levi McIntyre. But if he has a good run today at a track where track position is pretty important, maybe he can get that first career win and maybe get into the playoffs that way. He'll be alongside of another driver that's trying to do the same thing, Charles Sanford. Charles comes into this race 6th in the point standings. He is the 3rd highest driver in points without a victory. Subsequently, he comes into this race in the 14th seed in a playoff position. We'll see if starting on the front row is going to help either one of these drivers try and get their first win on the season. All right, we mentioned it. Now let's take a look at our playoff grid coming into today. As you see, Bolin with the 3 victories. Collins with his 2nd now jumps up to the number 2 seed. All the drivers basically from Norman down through Dunnard still in the playoffs with their victory being the top 30 in points. There was a little bit of shuffling between Johnson, Fitzwater, Batson, and Gunther for who was seeds 5 through seeds 8, but they still are in playoff contention right now. But take a look who's now in the 11th seed. We mentioned last week that there were 4 drivers below the 30th in the standings cut line, and any of them could move their way mathematically back up into the top 30 in points. Joshua Osborne, with his runner-up finish last week to Collins, jumped up 9 spots. He is now 26th in points, which means he's above that 30th in the standings cut line. He is back in a playoff position. Another driver we'll keep an eye on today that had a top 10 last week, Kyle Matthews, jumped up 4 spots to 33rd. He's only 1 point behind 30th in the standings. So today, if he has another good run, the defending champion, half of the defending champions, could be back in playoff contention as well. That means when we had at one point about 7 drivers able to make it in on points, we're now down to 5 slots available to drivers to get in on points. Matt Haas still with that pretty comfortable lead over the cutoff line. James Qualls, Charles Sanford, Nathan Ormond, and now Levi McIntyre holds the final seed after he gained 3 spots in the standings last week and displaced Ryan Butcher from that final 16th seed. Again, though, you look at all those drivers there, Haas, Qualls, Sanford, Ormond, McIntyre, they've been on pretty good streaks as of late as far as consistency. Any one of them could maybe find victory lane here today. Now, the two drivers that are below the 30th standings cut line that we got to keep an eye on that weren't mentioned, aside from Kyle Matthews, Chris Dollerton, he, of course, had that problem last week where they couldn't fuel the race car and finished 41st. He dropped a couple spots in the standings. He right now is 23 points behind the cut line, and Daniel Voiles really needs to get something going right now in that 26 car. He is now 40th in the point standings, and I believe he is 39 points behind the cut line, if my math is correct, which, yes, I believe that is the case. So that's almost a full race behind 30th in the point standings. That 2016 needs to get something going now. Granted, we've still got, after today, 8 more races, but you don't want to be heading into those final 3-4 races on the season in what might end up being a must-win situation, especially when you were off to such a good start in the first half of the regular season. But you know what? It's now time to go down trackside and get those most famous words in motorsports, because we got a race to run here today. 88 laps await us at the Chicago Motor Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
You'll see a 42 car starting lineup on the right side of your screen, as the Toyota TRD pace car will lead the field around, well, for a full pace lap for them, about a half pace lap for the pace car, as pit road entrance is on the back straightaway going into turn 3. First time in a long time we don't have just 1 or 2 of our previous race winners in the field. 4 of the previous 5 winners going to take the green flag here today. Jose Mills, Matt Haas, Dylan Young in Season 3, which was a hometown win. Then Nathan Normand in Season 4. Roberto Crown Jr., the defending winner, is the only driver not in the field here today. It was one of 2 victories he had last season, driving in the number 77 for Auto Junction Racing. So will we have another multi-time winner joining Destin Bolin and Mitchell Collins? Will we have a first-time winner? Only time will tell, as R.J. Bishop's Ford, Charles Sanford Chevrolet will head into the restart zone. And for the 6th time in Duracell Cup Series history, we are green flag racing at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Turns 1 and 2 going to be the most important corners, I think, here today. Carry a lot of speed into those turns, and a lot of drivers are going to go way up the racetrack, not necessarily on purpose. They just carry so much speed that they overdrive that corner. So we are 3 wide already for second. We're 3 wide, several rows deep. Very spacious corners, but it narrows up when you come off of 2 and 4. Got to be aware of that, especially in the early going of this race. It's 88 laps. You do not want to take yourself out early on. As Poti will move into second place. Chris Dollerton very wide there. Off of turn 2, Charles Sanford, Cole Deaver took him 3 wide, but now Deaver backed out of it. So it's Sanford and Dollerton to mix it up for the final spot on the podium. Nathan Normand in the middle back there of a tight 3 wide with Austin LaPlante and Benjamin Snyder. So far so good though, as everybody minding their P's and Q's. They're racing 3 and almost 4 wide further back there, but they're giving some room. Let's make sure that they're okay back here. Saw Rob Evans. Yeah, it is 4 wide. Carson Gums in the middle of that. Kyle Matthews there. Dylan Young, former winner at this racetrack. 3-time winner Destin Bolin's on the top side. Oh, and contact! Kyle Matthews up into the wall with Destin Bolin. Carson Gum got a piece. The caution is going to fly for that. First caution of the day here on lap number 4. And that was one of those cases where it was a wreck that almost didn't appear that it should have been a wreck. If I'm being perfectly honest, that took me by surprise. They looked like they were okay. And are we going to have drivers hitting pit road here? Maybe feeling that this race could go into long green flag runs? Apparently that's the case. R.J. Bishop is leading practically the whole field down pit road, taking the opportunity here to pit under pacing. Stretch the fuel window a little bit further. Very early on here, 4 laps in for us to be making pit stops, but then again, don't know exactly. Maybe this is a caution that everybody needed to be able to make this a 1-stop race. Maybe it would have been 2 stops, if not for this yellow flag. So we'll wait and see if the top 10 change up a little bit here. When we end up coming back live, let's go back and take a look at what brought out the caution. See if we can pinpoint exactly where the contact was. Because again, like I said, I was kind of surprised that that was actually a wreck. Oh, okay, so they still were kind of 4 wide. It didn't look like it from the angle we originally were looking at, but they actually were still 4 wide. Carson Gum was still at the right rear quarter panel of Kyle Matthews in the left rear of his teammate, the 12 of Destin Bolin. I don't know why all of a sudden in my mind I thought Carson was Dylan Young. Oh, maybe because Dylan Young's actually in the same shot. He's actually right in this this group. But you can see right here. Yeah. Still were 4 wide. I thought they had settled it out to 3, but apparently that wasn't the case. That's a tough break there for Kyle Matthews. We just mentioned the fact that he came into this race 1 point behind 30th in the standings. Cut line, former winner from this season at the Coke Zero Super Speedway. 3-time winner Destin Boland. This is not the run he's been looking for, especially in terms of momentum. Did not have a good run last week at Iowa, after he had to make an early unscheduled pit stop and never got back into contention. Dropped 5 spots in the standings to 17th. And while that may not exactly seem like much, consider the fact that we could end up having, if he hits a long enough streak of bad luck, we could end up having a 3-time winner miss out of the playoffs. That would be absolutely catastrophic for that team. It's like Matthews and Boland, they have come to pit road. They have taken service, repaired damage, returned to the track. They will all be on the lead lap, all 42 drivers, when we go back green. So we had some varying strategy there. Some drivers came down pit road and took on some tires. A lot of the drivers you see up here at the front decided to go fuel only, including our new race leader, Ryan Brommer. He'll be leading Nathan Ormond, Ryan Butcher, the inaugural Chicago Motor Speedway winner, Jose Mills, and Austin LaPlante as the top 5. Back to the green here, as we should see the 1 to green, I think, here. Yep, lights out top the pace car. Ryan Brommer, former Final 4 contender for the championship. 29th in points coming to this race, 10 points ahead of the cut line. Been a pretty quiet season for him, to be honest. He's still looking for his first top 5 on the year. 3 top 10s, average finishing position of just under 23rd. But now out in front and trying to see if he can pick up his first win on the season. We documented at the beginning of the year that in the last 3 seasons, he has driven for Dodge, Chevrolet, and now Toyota. The only manufacturer Ryan Brommer has not driven in, of the mainstay manufacturers here in the Duracell Cup Series, is a Ford Mustang. Well, RJ Bishop led the first 4 laps. Ryan Brommer is about to lead his 3rd lap, as lap 8 goes up on the board, and we are back underway at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Battle will, well, it was going to be for 3rd, but very quickly over. Jose Mills takes it from Ryan Butcher, and now Nathan Ormond wants the race lead after a nice center through 1 and 2. Got a nice drive off on the inside, but that inside line is so difficult to get back to the throttle. Brommer, though, overshot the corner, and Ormond will go to the lead. Nathan Ormond, former winner here. Back in Season 4. Went to victory lane in a Dodge for Joanna Atwood Motorsports. If I recall correctly, I think that was a multi-win season for him. I think he had 2 wins that year. Got 2 former winners out in front right now, Nathan Ormond and Jose Mills. You're looking for the other 2 former winners. Dylan Young right now is in 21st. Matt Haas restarted all the way back in 37th, but granted, he didn't start this race with good starting track position at all. He was 40th on the grid, as Mills will now go to the inside for the top position on Nathan Ormond. Anthony McCurry in the 61. Just took the 4th spot away from Ryan Butcher. Anthony is the cut line driver coming to this race, 30th in points. Trying to get Fortnite Squad Racing, their second win on the season, following up to Nick Gunther's win from Sonoma as unscheduled stop for the 99 of Levi McIntyre, who, as we already had documented, was the 16th seed playoff driver as things currently ran, and he's going to fall a lap down. And I believe we're under caution. And we are. We've had a couple of drivers with an issue. James Qualls and Ali Liera. Oh, it looks like maybe a little disagreement there between those two. So we got some fenders rubbing here in the back straightaway. I think drivers are trying to wait for the pace car to pick them up. Qualls and Liera don't appear to be all that happy with each other as pit road is open again and everybody is going to come back down pit road again. So Jose Mills from the lead will bring pretty much the entirety of the field. Now let's see, before we take a look at what brought out the caution, see if we can figure out why the unscheduled stop for Levi McIntyre. I'm guessing there was a flat tire. Watch as he comes to pit road. Wow, that pit road is going to be so tough for drivers to get onto here today. Using all of that access area there. Somebody else came down pit road with him. Who was that? Rob Evans in the 65. So I'm not sure what all was going on there. It looked like fuel stop for Rob Evans, and then you see they actually put 4 tires on the 99 of Levi McIntyre. Now, I believe that the caution ended up coming out not too long after his service was completed. See if we can find the 70 of James Qualls and 16 of Ali Liera. There it was right there. Jessica Shelton, the 02, also got a piece of it. She was able to kind of continue on as she rode the wall. It almost looked eerily similar to what brought out the first caution, like an almost 4 wide. Liera sticking her nose in between, was that Shelton and Qualls, with Noah Hendrickson on the very inside, along with Rick Johnson. So it was almost kind of one of those 3 wide generates to 4 wide going into turn 3. Very similar to what we saw earlier with the contact with Carson Gum, Destin Bolin, and Kyle Matthews. So a couple more drivers going to deal with damage, but both of the wrecks we've had, it hasn't looked like super hard hits taken by any of the drivers. They have removed the rear bumper off the 70 of James Qualls. And this is very interesting because remember when we showed you Levi McIntyre making that pit stop, Rob Evans went with fuel only. Now Levi did not come off pit road on the lead lap, but Rob Evans did. When everybody came to pit lane, Evans stayed out, so Rob Evans with a little stroke of luck there. I don't think that was actually strategized on purpose, but it certainly worked out in his favor. He's going to be the one to lead us back to green over Jose Mills, Nathan Orman, Anthony McCurry, and Ryan Butcher. Levi McIntyre will be on the tail end of the lead lap as he also stayed out. But he'll be behind the pace car here, and he will be fighting to keep everyone in his rearview mirror, maybe catch a quick yellow, and get back on the lead lap himself. We gave you the top 5. Jesse Turner is going to line up in 6th. 7th place, Laura Chung, Dylan Poteet, Keith Batson, and Cody Lamas. That's got to be the top 10. Jesse Turner up there in that 47 had a great run last week at Iowa. Now 19th in points. So keep an eye on him. Keep talking about drivers having momentum spurts here during the second half of the regular season. Rob Evans could also fall into that category. Had a good run last week, jumped up 5 spots to 23rd in points, and now out in front and showing the way. All 42 drivers still running, at this point still on the lead lap, as we get ready for our second restart of the day. Not quite yet a quarter of the way through this race as Rob Evans gets a nice jump, and he'll already look to the inside of Levi McIntyre to put him a lap down. Levi trying to get that run off the top here down the back straightaway, but not able to do it. And he will fall -1 now to the 65. Anthony McCurry McCurry going to move into second place. As a couple of Fords try to outbreak each other into turn 3. Nathan Ormond and Jose Mills. Levi McIntyre trying to get his lap back. Almost ran to the back of Rob Evans there as way up the track goes Mills. Way up the track goes Jesse Turner. It'll be Ryan Butcher and Dylan Poche to take advantage, and Levi and Rob Evans are coming to pit road. Uncertain of the cause for that. Evans pitting from the lead. Levi McIntyre pitting a lap down. 74 of Benjamin Snyder on pit lane. I believe he's serving a pass-through. Got a black flag for a restart violation. Matt Haas just now leaving pit lane in the 8. Lost the points lead last week to Michael Norman. Second in overall standings, 7 points back now. And I believe he has fallen a lap down. Trying to get clarification on why the 8 was on pit lane. Don't know if there was possible restart violations for him, as well as I don't know how there'd be a restart violation on the 99 or the 65 because they were where they needed to be when they crossed the line. Not certain on that one. Snyder is 1 lap down right now. McIntyre is 1 lap down. You're looking at your race leader right now, Anthony McCurry, the Turkish Airlines Chevrolet. Ormond into second. Mills is third, then Poteet fourth, and Chris Dollerton right now completes the top 5, trying to get himself back into playoff contention. Our Daytona 500 winner, and then there's Keith Batson in the 39, our Darlington winner. He just ran his fastest lap of the race as he's in the 6th spot. Turner 7th. He's got Dylan Young breathing down his neck, former winner here from Season 3, Dylan Young. Trying to join his teammate Destin Bolin as a winner this season. Austin LaPlante just got the 9th spot from Ryan Butcher, and now Butcher under fire for the 10th position. There's last week's winner, 2-time winner on the season, Mitchell Collins. With that victory last week, Mitchell Collins is now 15th in points. He's actually higher in points than Destin Bolin, the 3-time winner, so trying to put some distance between himself and that cut line as Ryan Butcher in the 78 appears to be coming to pit road, and I think he's coming to pit road for damage repair. You just saw the right side pancaked on his Toyota. So I believe this is actually a scheduled, unscheduled stop, if you will, for Ryan Butcher. That's a tough break there for Ryan. Looking at Joshua Osborne, 27. Mentioned last week, runner-up finish at Iowa. Got him up into the top 30 in points again. Our Pocono winner, currently in a playoff spot. 3 wide back here. That's your points leader, Michael Norman, mixing it up with Carson Gum. William Hoer in the 83. There's Jack Dunnard right there in the 88 as well. A few former winners in this mix. Quentin Moore. You've got our M&M Super Speedway, Las Vegas, Dover, and Phoenix winners all right there. Let's move back up to the front, see if anything's generated for the lead, and nothing for the lead, but we did have a pass right there for second place. Dollerton getting around Jose Mills. Dylan Poteet looking for 4th on Nathan Ormond. Top 6, now top 8, all close together as we're 3 wide. Batson went way up the track. Dylan Young and Austin LaPlante looking to take advantage. LaPlante will get by Dylan Young here, possibly for 7th through 3 and 4. Driver that's now crept his way up towards the top 10, though I don't know how being bright orange you can creep. Cole Deaver right now behind Mitchell Collins in P11. Deaver is currently in 22nd in points, one of multiple drivers still for his first top 5 on the season. Now we've got a battle for the lead. Chris Dollerton has caught and passes Anthony McCurry. Dollerton's going to be the 5th different leader here today. Correction, 6th different leader. So far, the most laps led, Anthony McCurry with 8. 4 laps led by Rob Evans and RJ Bishop. 3 laps led by Ryan Brommer, 2 apiece by Nathan Norman and Jose Mills. So actually, that would have been, what, 6th different leader now? I think I said 5th, and I was wrong with that. Dylan Poteet a couple of weeks ago was around dead last in points. 38th in the standings coming into this one. This is about the strongest I think we've seen him in a while, at least up at the front of the field. The Spider-Man Chevrolet trying to hold off Jose Mills for that 3rd spot. 5th place, Austin LaPlante on the inside of Nathan Ormond. If he completes that pass, Dylan Young going to be right there to try and pounce, pick up a spot himself. Things have gotten pretty spread out here. Got your little battles 1v1 throughout the field. As soon as I say that, things are going to get bunched up because the caution is out. 3rd time today. I think we're going to see everyone dive for pit road again. So who was involved in this caution? And honestly, not seeing anybody back here that might be candidates. I did see some skid marks on the back straightaway. Wonder if someone got turned off of turn 2. But who it would be, I don't know. This caution was huge for Matt Haas and Rob Evans. They both managed to stay on the lead lap. So they will cycle around to the tail end of the longest line. Benjamin Snyder, Ryan Butcher, and Levi McIntyre, they will all be 1 lap down here on this upcoming restart. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what brought the yellow flag out, because I didn't see anybody back there outside of drivers that had already pitted under this green flag run with any damage. It may have been just a harmless spin, and maybe that's why the caution came out, and we found it. It's the 77 of Laura Chung, and I was right. It was actually off of turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. Looks like she's going to get a little assistance from the 03 of Charles Sanford. This was a battle for the 19th position. Ooh, wow. Something like that looks like maybe Laura Chung might have lifted coming off the corner. Sanford wasn't exactly on her left rear quarter panel. He was right on her back bumper. Did Chung... No, I was going to say, did she have to check up for a car ahead? But there was some pretty good distance between herself and William Hoer. Oh, there you see right there. Yeah, Sanford just kind of slides up behind. Might have been a little bit of like a bumper grab there from the front bumper of Sanford to the rear bumper of Chung, but loops her around. Caution comes out. Saves a couple of drivers in the process. No harm, no foul, no damage for the 77. She loses a couple of positions, but it puts us under the caution for the 3rd time here today at Chicago. A couple of drivers here looks like have decided to stay out as Dollarton won the battle off pit road. Looks like Ryan Butcher and Benjamin Snyder, they both decided not to pit. They're going to try and roll the dice, see if maybe they can get a quick yellow, get back on the lead lap. Levi McIntyre did pit, so he will be on the inside line 1 lap down, which will make a bit of a blockade for the 43 of Dollarton and subsequently all the other drivers behind him, which will include 2nd place Anthony McCurry, Jose Mills in 3rd, Dylan Poteet 4th, and 5th place Austin LaPlante. Nathan Norman is 6th, Keith Batson 7th, 8th is Dylan Young, 9th place Mitchell Collins, and Cole Deaver is going to complete the top 10. Take a little further down, we got the time. 11th place will be Quentin Moore, Ryan Brommer in 12th, Benjamin Miles is 13th, Caleb Vogler 14th, Nick Gunther completes top 15, pole sitter RJ Bishop in 16th, 17th Joshua Osborne, 18th Jack Dunnard, Carson Gum, and Jesse Turner will complete the top 20. Daniel Boyles is 21st, Reggie Fogelman 22nd, 23rd Charles Sanford, 24th Zachary Fitzwater, and Cody Lamas will complete the top 25. We're going to have 41 drivers on the lead lap out of 42 still running. Working our 3rd caution of the day, but all 42 cars are still out there on the racetrack as we are approaching the halfway point. We're going to still have 14 laps before we get to that point. A long ways still left to go here at Chicago Motor Speedway. Want to remind everybody that next week we are going to be at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, another racetrack with not a lot of banking in the corners. Then the following week, we're road course racing. It is the third showcase race on the season. We'll see the showcase drivers and the main event drivers at Charlotte Roval as we continue on the chase towards the chase for the championship. Lap 30 complete. Chris Dollerton brings us back to the green, and Anthony McCurry trying to see if he can maybe box the 43 in there. One thing I did notice that nobody back there jumped out of line before the start-finish line. Nobody wanted to get any of those restart violations that Benjamin Snyder ended up getting called for. Still uncertain if that was the case for the 8 of Matt Haas or not. But he is now back on the tail end of the lead lap, so it's almost a moot point right now. Poteet going to take the second spot away from Ryan Butcher, who almost went across the nose of Anthony McCurry and almost got turned for his troubles. Remember, the 78 is not in the lead lap as McCurry way up the track, and he might drop outside the top 5. Dollerton has cleared the 99 of Levi McIntyre. He'll look to catch Benjamin Snyder. Snyder's hoping that a caution comes out so he can stay on the lead lap as McCurry and Dylan Young, they'll battle for 4th. And, ooh, there was nearly contact right there between Batson and McCurry off of 4. This will be a battle for, I believe, the 5th position. Chris Dollerton's right there. Jose Mills. Things got very wadded up again when that caution came out. Field was spreading out. We're starting to have little battles here and there, and now everybody is back in the hunt as 3 wide for second place. LaPlante and Poteet leaning on each other. Poteet goes up into the 99 of Levi McIntyre. That is tight off of turn 4. Oh, and then McIntyre ran right down on the passenger side door of the 31 of Dylan Poteet. These drivers up here at the front, they are fighting tooth and nail, and Chris Dollerton, if he's even bothering to look in his rearview mirror, he would like what he sees. Poteet's doing a good job on that top side, holding on to the runner-up spot from Austin LaPlante. Look at him pin down LaPlante on the door off of turn 4. So it looks like some rubber's been laid up in that second groove, and it's actually working right now for the 31 car. Let's see what he does here off of turn 2. This time not going to be able to get back to the throttle. LaPlante's going to get the runner-up spot, and now it's the Dylan and Dylan show for 3rd place. Dylan Young looking to the inside of Dylan Poteet. So now if LaPlante can kind of gap himself from this battle, he can try and get up there and maybe challenge Chris Dollerton, who just got around Benjamin Snyder. So a lap machine now between the 48 and the 43. They were 3 wide back there around the 6th, 7th position moments ago. They've settled that out. Cole Deaver is the man on the move as he just moved into the 5th spot, getting around Levi McIntyre. Dylan Young now to 3rd, getting by Poteet. This is 6th place. Well, actually, it's not for position between the 38 and the 99. Jose Mills is on the lead lap. McIntyre is not. Here's 6th. Oh my gosh, this is a wad of cars. Look at Nick Gunther, that Mazda on the inside, 3 wide. Caleb Fogler, one half of the defending champs coming into this series. Mitchell Collins, last week's winner. Former champ Carson Gum. Former winner Keith Batson. Mixing it up a lot here is Gunther, I think picked up about 3 or 4 spots in a matter of 2 laps with that 3 wide move on the inside. He is now up to the, I believe, 7th position. Let's see when they cross the line. It might be 6th. Oh, we got a wreck on the front straightaway off turn 4. I think that was Reggie Fogelman was one of the cars. The other one I think was Quentin Moore. The caution is going to fly for the 4th time today. Around 50 laps away from the conclusion. Dollerton had already crossed the start-finish line, so he's actually racing back to receive the yellow. There you see the skid marks off of turn number 4, and now we are officially under caution. I think about 4th place had already crossed the line, 5th place on back. They didn't necessarily race back to the yellow. So hopefully we don't end up having some kind of a stack up here on the back straightaway. This race has been too good for something like that to take place. I think, well, this is going to be the first time pits are open and drivers aren't going to hit pit lane. That's amazing. Our 3 previous cautions, everybody's hit pit road. Now, Snyder wasn't able to keep Chris Dollerton at bay. Otherwise, he would have been back on the lead lap. And let's see if we can find out what happened off of turn 4. The 2 drivers I saw go around were our winner from a couple of weeks ago at Dover, Quentin Moore, and the 24 of Reggie Fogelman, who last week suffered an engine failure under pacing at Iowa Speedway and subsequently finished, I believe it was in the 40th position. Dropped below the cut line of 30th in standings as well, 31st in points coming to this race, and here's a look at it. Anthony McCurry had dropped way back, and oh man, he gets Reggie Fogelman in the right rear quarter panel. Both the 61 and the 24 pound the wall pretty good, and then Fogelman comes back down into the 89 of Quentin Moore. I'd be very concerned about that right side damage on Anthony McCurry, who was out in front for a good portion of this race. He led 8 laps, I believe. See if we can get another camera angle here. And you can just see, bam! Ooh. Boy, Daniel Voiles just narrowly avoided in the 26, and there was a little bit of right side damage sustained by Samuel Ryder when Quentin Moore came down and tagged him. Caution out, though, for the 4th time today. And it will set us up for another restart. McCurry's on pit lane. We're trying to get that right side damage repaired. Looks like the 74 Benjamin Snyder hit pit road, since he was not going to be back on the lead lap. No sense of staying out. Ryan Butcher also on pit road in the 78 car. I'd be surprised if Levi McIntyre in the 99 doesn't come to pit road as well. Those 3, Snyder, Butcher, and McIntyre, will get to try again on that inside line to maybe get their laps back with the timing of a caution. Working our 4th yellow flag of the day as we near the halfway point here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Still, all 42 cars, though, are running. At this point, 39 of them on the lead lap. Chris Dollerton has led the most laps so far, 17 in total. He's got Austin LaPlante behind him, Dylan Poteet in 3rd, Dylan Young and Jose Mills in 4th and 5th. Aside from Matt Haas, who had some early struggles with having to make a pit stop under green, but has since worked his way up to 28th, our other 3 former winners have done pretty well here today. 3 former winners here at this racetrack, I should say. Jose Mills and Dylan Young, both up here inside the top 5 for this restart. Nathan Ormond was up here towards the front near the beginning of this race. He's now in the 16th position, and as mentioned, Matt Haas is in 28th. Granted, Matt Haas did not have very good starting track position here today, so he's done a very good job of mounting the comeback, as mentioned, with that unscheduled pit stop and staying on the lead lap there. The highest driver that started deep in the field that's picked up the most spots right now would be hometown driver Dylan Young, looking for his 2nd win at this racetrack. He started back in the 32nd position. He has gained 28 spots since the start of this race, up to 4th place. So, we mentioned about the fact that this appeared to maybe be a track where track position would be very important. Dylan Young has proved that that is not necessarily the case. Green flag, getting ready to come back out here on lap 43 of 88. Chris Dollerton gets us back underway. He's trying to gap himself ahead of the 99 of McIntyre, and I think he's clear. No, not quite, as they spread out 3 wide, a couple of rows there through 1 and 2. Dollerton, I believe, is now clear on the 99, as Dylan Young, using the 74 of Benjamin Snyder as a pick, he'll take 2nd place away from Austin LaPlante. Dylan Young just picked up 2 spots right there, getting by both Poteet and LaPlante. And now he'll try and set his sights on Chris Dollerton, but he's got Levi McIntyre and Ryan Butcher that he's going to have to deal with. LaPlante now moves to 3rd. Dylan Poteet to 4th. Jose Mills back in 5th. And here's 6th place between a couple of former winners this year. Mitchell Collins, two-time winner. Nick Gunther, one-time winner. Contact back there, leaning on each other. That's Caleb Fogler and Cole Deaver. They were 3 wide with Carson Gum, and now Fogler looking to get that spot back from the 19. Keith Batson going to force his nose in there as well in the 39. Good battling back here just inside the latter half of the top 10 as move back up to the front. Here's second place battle. Young, LaPlante, and Poteet, and Chris Dollerton. He was not able to drive away from Levi McIntyre. These two were teammates back in Season 1 at Rockin' Ranch Racing, but not today. Levi McIntyre says, I want my lap back here. Overdrove turn 1, though. And now Ryan Butcher will look to maybe pick up a spot from him. Remember, the 99, 78, and 74, while they are a lap down, they are all -1, so they are actually battling for position themselves while also trying to get their laps back. Someone just got the wall back there. Oh, big hit! Jose Mills in the 38, and he's going to turn around back in front of traffic. And I think he got tagged by somebody. Maybe it was Matt Haas. Somebody, I think, got him. It was either Haas or Boland, and the caution's out again. 5th time today, and I think Dollerton's coming for pit road. Jose Mills, former winner here at Chicago Motor Speedway. Oh, his day looks like it may be over. I heard the contact. I heard the wall hit. And that's how I knew something had happened. I didn't know who it was. And I don't know who hooked him. And then he started backing down the racetrack with still half the field coming out of turn 4. And I believe someone got him, but I'm not sure who. Our replay will show us. That looks like that may be day over for Jose Mills, most winless driver in the Duracell Cup Series. Still searching for his first top 5 on the year, looking for his first win. Oh, this was a hard battle for, I think this was 3rd place. No, this was for 4th. Between Mills and Poteet. Oh, and then Mills, oh man. Mills just kind of came down, Poteet came up, and oh, it was Cody Lamas was actually the car that barely tags the 38. Matt Haas, El Oliera did a great job and got on the brakes to avoid running into the back of him. Let's take another look here. If we look from our aerial view, this is kind of very similar to what we talk about at mile and a half, that gray area where 2 different drivers have 2 different lines and they intersect coming off of the corner. Watch this. Poteet top will arc it in. Mills drives it deep and arcs it out. And they both just wanted the same piece of real estate. We nearly ended up having Nick Gunther and Mitchell Collins get together there. Oh, it's just a mere tap for Cody Lamas. He'll be fine, but he is going to, because he had to slow up, there were a number of drivers that blew by him on the inside line. But I don't think that's going to take Cody out of the race. Man, that could have been so much worse. Let's take an onboard here. I think Mitchell Collins will give us a nice look of what happened there. Man, that's a big hit. And right there, because Collins had to duck down to the inside to avoid, that's why he and Nick Gunther actually almost got together. Nice avoidance by everybody. The tracks where you end up having the wall separating the racetrack from pit road and you have a wreck take place on that straightaway, a lot of times the track gets blockaded up, and that could have been something right there that could have occurred, and it didn't. We got very, very fortunate. Not fortunate, though, for Jose Mills. His day is indeed done. And with the fact that even though we are working our 5th caution of the day, all 42 cars were still running, he will be finishing dead last in this one. So not the points day that the 38 car was looking for. As Chris Dollerton, we saw he led the field down pit road, and he won the battle off pit lane, so he will continue to show the way here today. He just led his 27th lap here at Chicago Motor Speedway this afternoon. The 3 lap cars, McIntyre, Butcher, Snyder, they're coming up the inside line. It'll be Dollerton the leader, Austin LaPlante is 2nd, Mitchell Collins will be 3rd, 4th place, Caleb Fogler and RJ Bishop, the pole sitters, now back up to 5th. Dylan Young is 6th. 7th, Nick Gunther. Nathan Ormond 8th. Cole Deaver 9th. And Carson Gum is going to complete the top 10. Dylan Poteet did spend an awful long time on pit road getting damage repaired after he sandwiched the wall with the 38 of Jose Mills. He will be restarting last car in the lead lap in 38th position. However, we saw Anthony McCurry end up getting the wall earlier, and they repaired the damage on that car. He's all the way up to 17th, so still plenty of time for Poteet to be able to mount a comeback despite having that wreck take place when he was up inside the top 5. Green flag back in the air here. Lap 50 complete, 38 laps to go. McIntyre wants his lap back. LaPlante wants the lead. Takes it 3 wide up the middle. This will help Ryan Butcher to maybe get back on the tail end of the lead lap. Mitchell Collins going to try the top side. They're going to try and wad the 48 behind the 78. Not going to work as we're 4 wide almost off of turn 4. Benjamin Snyder in a world of hurting there as he was in the middle 3 wide. Are we under caution again? I think we are. Yes, caution's out. Someone's on pit road back there. Couldn't make out who it was. But I believe, yeah, the 48 and the 78, mission accomplished. They're back on the lead lap now. They were ahead of race leader Austin LaPlante when they crossed the line. And we got a varying strategies here. LaPlante's going to stay out. Dollerton and Collins are going to pit. Young's going to stay out. Now we might be entering into the vicinity of the race where it's really going to come down to fuel strategy. So who was that driver that I saw in pit lane? Oh, it was Michael Norman, the 22. Might have been the reason here for our 6th caution of the day. Let's go back and take a look and find out. Michael Norman, the points leader. I don't know if it was him. Jesse Turner in the 47 was on pit lane. Oh, man. All right, so Michael Norman, it was not for him. Michael got the wall and had some right side damage. Let's see if we can find what happened. This was off turn 4. And someone took a big hit. Oh, man, I think it might have been Turner and Rick Johnson. And remember I mentioned earlier with the Jose Mills incident that it was amazing we didn't have more drivers involved? Well, we didn't get away with it this time. Here's a look. This was around the 15th spot. Oh, my gosh, head on. And then nowhere for Anthony McCurry to be able to go. Track's blocked up, and Cody Lamas avoids another one. James Quall's able to get on the brakes. Not sure why. Oh, that's right. I already mentioned that Michael Norman had damage and came down pit road to repair that. So this caution saved him. I think Michael's still going to be on the lead lap. Here's another look at the incident off of 4. Yeah, Turner just kind of ran up the track. Gets hooked in the right rear by Rick Johnson. Oh, man, we were talking about Anthony McCurry mounting a good comeback there after being involved in an earlier incident, and now he's got some front-end damage as Turner had to call the tow to pit road, and they've actually already pushed that U.S. Air Force Ford Mustang back to the garage here. That's such a tough break. I was mentioning the fact he had a good run last week, was beginning to climb through the point standings, was inside the top 20 in points, 19th. And that was not what he needed. He was up inside the top 15 in the running order as well. That battle was, I believe, for 13th place between himself and Rick Johnson. So varying strategies here. Looks like 20 drivers elected not to come to pit road here under this caution. Chris Dollerton gave up 2nd place to hit pit road. And he will be restarting back in 24th place, they're saying. As looks like Michael Norman stayed out, Levi McIntyre and Ryan Butcher also stayed out after those two got back on the lead lap. So actually 23 drivers stayed out. Dollerton, Fogler, Deaver, Batson, Collins, they all came to pit lane. And they will subsequently restart this race outside of the top 20. We'll see if it was the right call, as it'll be 33 laps to go when we get the green flag once again. Benjamin Snyder is the only car 1 lap down that is still running in the 40th position. 39 drivers on the lead lap. Jesse Turner and Jose Mills, the 2 drivers at this point in time that are out of this race. So we talked about the fact that Joshua Osborne worked his way back into the top 30 in points last week to currently be back in a playoff position. Let's take a look at the other drivers that were below the cut line where they're currently running. Have they done enough to get back into the top 30? Daniel Voiles, 39 points behind the cut line. Right now going to restart in the 12th position. Chris Dollerton's led the most laps here today, but he's back in traffic. We'll see if he can work his way back up. He'll be restarting back in 24th. He was 23 points behind the cut line. And Kyle Matthews, we mentioned, was only 1 point behind 30th in the standings. He right now is in the 15th position. As we get ready to go back green once again, Austin LaPlante, the Northeast Motorsports Chevrolet, going to get us back under the green flag here at CMS. And he will use the 74 of Benjamin Snyder as an opportunity to scamper away with the race lead. He'll leave him stacked up for second place. Dylan Young, Nathan Ormond side by side. And Ormond will clear, it looks like, off of turn 4. Move him to the runner-up spot. Here comes Carson Gum. Now to 4th place. And that Chevrolet. Nick Gunther, RJ Bishop. This is for the 6th position, I do believe. Nope, make that 5th. And there's Osborne in the 27, fresh off that runner-up finish last week from Iowa. He's back up here again towards the top 5. Ryan Brommer, who led in the early going of this race, is now back up here. He last time crossed in 8th position. And there's Daniel Voiles in the 26. Needs a good run today. The North Wilkesboro winner to get himself back into contention for this playoffs. Someone just came off pit road. That was the 16 of Ali Liera and the 80 of Noah Hendrickson. Obviously, would be unscheduled pit stops for both of those drivers. Don't know if it was to repair damage or not. The right front on the 16 looked rather low right there going through 3 and 4. I don't know if they had a tire going down or what, or if that's just the way the suspension looks when they go into the corners, but now Nathan Ormond has to deal with 2 lap cars, Snyder and Liera, before he can get up there to LaPlante. Just noticed the driver back there that's now cracked the top 10. How about the 44 of Reese Banks? Great run right now for that driver out of Lake Effect Autosport, and he's really the only driver that's got a shot of giving the team a decent outing today. Benjamin Snyder trapped a lap down, and Jesse Turner most recently taken out of the race in the last caution. And I think they have a wreck back there off turn 4. We do. Caution's out again. I just barely saw it on the top of the screen. I don't know who all of was involved. But there were a number of drivers that were scattered off the turn 4 exit on the front straightaway. And the yellow flag is going to wait for the 7th time here today. Noah Hendrickson, I think, is going to be saved by this. I think he will remain on the lead lap. And it might have been Anthony McCrory involved in this one yet again. Zachary Fitzwater, our Indy winner, I think might have been collected also. There are those 2 aforementioned drivers. Don't know if they were the only 2 or not. Carson Gum, the 19, is peeling out of line. Looks like he'll be coming to pit road as take a look and see what happened. With some pretty good right side damage on the 66 of Fitzwater. Actually, looks like he may have been sandwiched into the wall because he's got left and right side damage. Who does he get? Oh, he gets tagged by the 33 of Mitchell Collins. He was checking up for the 28 of Caleb Fogler. Oh, and then he gets hit by Keith Batson, Rick Johnson, Cole Devers involved, James Qualls, and I think Kyle Matthews got a piece. McCurry was not involved. He was just back here off the pace, catching up to the vicinity of the wreck. There were more drivers involved in that one than I think has been the entirety of the day. Here's a look again. Yeah, it's just a matter of Fitzwater almost was going to turn Fogler. He lifts, but Mitchell Collins did not. Yeah, I think you got about 7 drivers that you could put on the list that got damaged in some way, shape, or form there. Nothing that looks like it would take any drivers out of the race, but certainly going to have a few damaged machines for the remainder of this race. Carson Gum, Daniel Voiles, Rob Evans, Kyle Matthews, Keith Batson were amongst those on pit road. as Austin LaPlante continues to show the way, nearing 20 laps to go. Working our 7th caution of the day here. We've been under caution for 28 of the 62 laps so far. We've had some long green flag runs here, but the caution has broken them up quite a bit. And cautions breed cautions. I think as we get close to the end of the race, these restarts are going to be hectic. So we're going to step aside for a quick commercial break. Then we'll be back here to the action for the Duracell Cup Series at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Green flag set to come back out here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Should be 24 laps to go when we hit the line next time by. Austin LaPlante is trying to see if he can best the 27 laps led by Chris Dollerton to get that bonus point for most laps led. He's led 13 laps so far. Nathan Ormond will line up behind him in second. Dylan Young, Ryan Brommer, Nick Gunther. That's the top 5. Pole sitter RJ Bishop has crept his way back up to the front. He's in 6th. Reese Banks in 7th. Joshua Osborne, Charles Sanford, and Quentin Moore are going to complete the top 10. Austin LaPlante looking for his first win on the year. He's 27th in points. He was the cut line driver last week, 30th in standings going into Iowa. Picked up 3 spots and looks to gain even more here today, trying to get Northeast Motorsports their 2nd win on the season. As the green flag flies, you've got the lap machines of Ali Liera and Benjamin Snyder on the inside there. And they're going to take the race leader 3 wide. Both trying to get their laps back, hoping for a quick yellow. Dylan Young trying to be the beneficiary of all this. LaPlante's going to stay up there on the top side of the 16. Oh, almost some contact there. They're almost banging doors. Oh, this is going to be tight off of turn 4, but LaPlante's making it work. Dylan Young has not been able to take advantage on the inside. We got a car around. Dylan Poteet's been spun off of turn 4 onto the front stretch. Caution's out. I think the leaders hadn't taken it yet. This is a battle between the 16 and the 48 for the 16 to try and get back on the lead lap. Snyder might try and do the same. Allie's going to drive it in deep. Oh, couldn't stay there. Wait a minute. Rolls through the center. Liera trying, going to force the 48 up high. It's a drag race to see if the 16 will stay on the lead lap, but the power too strong on the top for Austin LaPlante in the 48. So Liera, a valiant effort, but she will stay a lap down, as will Benjamin Snyder. And that 48 car just showed its strength. Got taken 3 wide. I thought Dylan Young was going to easily move on by with the aid of the lap machines to the lead, but LaPlante said no, sir. I believe it was a solo car spin. I believe Dylan Poteet got looped around and nobody else hit him. Go back and take a look at it here. Let's see who it was that tagged him. Looks like it might have been Cole Deaver and the 08 car. Oh, yeah, that actually, wow. That looks quite similar to what happened earlier when his teammate Charles Sanford got into the back of Laura Chung. Almost looks like visibly you're clear, but you just aren't. And very fortunate there for Dylan Poteet that that thing didn't go down and hit the inside wall. Just a little harmless spin around. He was in 23rd, so yeah, he is going to lose some track position, but could have been a lot worse. Could be back in the garage area right now with Jose Mills and Jesse Turner. You saw the hood flaps deploy. Helped to scrub off some speed there. And Poteet will continue on. Let's take an onboard with the 08 and see just how close it is. Yeah, it looks like it's really hard to judge if you're clear or if you're not. And again, that was another of those cautions where the yellow flag waves for some of the field, but it doesn't necessarily wave for all of the field. About half of the field had crossed the start finish line. Caution was out, but they had not come around and yet received the caution, so you had about half the field racing back, and the other half were already starting to back it down for pacing. Well, I'll tell you what, Austin the Plant right now, he wants us to get to lap 78. Why does he want us to get to lap 78? Because that would be the 10 lap to go mark, which means any future restarts from that point on would be single file. You wouldn't have the lap cars down to the inside. Now, granted, he definitely did a great job of holding them off there when they took him 3 wide on the last restart, but I don't think he wants to be put back in that situation again. But I think right there, he just basically showed Dylan Young, Nathan Ormond, RJ Bishop, hey, if you're going to get around me, inside line may not necessarily be a guarantee that you're going to pass me. I'm going to hold you on that top side. And we saw, was it Dylan Poteet, I think? No, it was Chris Dollerton who was actually able to hold really tough on that top line. Actually, Poteet did too, in what was the battle for second at the time. Held very strong on that outside line. So as we've continued to run laps here, that second groove has started to come in and might be a factor here in the closing stages of this race. This is caution flag number 8 if you're just joining us. Despite the fact we've been under the yellow 8 times. 40 drivers still running, 38 on the lead lap, only 2 drivers out of the race. Jesse Turner and Jose Mills. Little point in fact there, don't know if this means anything, but Charles Sanford just came down pit road at the 1 to green to top off the fuel tank. In that 0-3, he'll restart back tail end of the lead lap in 38th place. See if that culminates to anything in the closing stages of this race. Austin the Plant, ready to bring us back to the green. 18 laps to go here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. And again, Ali Liera gonna hang tough on that inside line, try and get her lap back. Looks like that 16 is down a bit on power, but 48 really overdrove turns 1 and 2, and now we're 3 wide for the top spot. RJ Bishop on the inside. Dylan Young in the middle. LaPlante up top side as, banging doors back there between Osborne and Nathan Ormond. And RJ Bishop is going to lead this lap. Can he get himself clear? Yes, he can. His teammate Dylan Young looking to follow. Liera's looking up the flag stand saying, please caution, because right now she'd be back in the tail end of the lead lap. The way they're racing back there, she may end up getting that. Bishop to the point. Dylan Young. Wow, what a send into turn 3, trying to get around the lap car of Benjamin Snyder. And Reese Banks now looking for 3rd place as Bishop to the inside of Liera to put her a lap down. And he will clear for the spot. Now Dylan Young has to do the same. Might get alongside Liera, but won't be clear of her down the back straightaway. And now he's got his hands full with the rookie Reese Banks. Fingers crossed we can go green to the end. But the way these guys are racing, I'm not so sure we can. Ryan Brommer has now moved up into the 4th position. Sends it into turn 1. Oh gosh, Nathan Ormond really sent it on Joshua Osborne. Those two have been door banging the last couple of laps. LaPlante dropped back to the 5th spot, and Cody Lamas is now up to 6th in that number 13. Trying to get to the inside of Ryan Butcher. Remember, Butcher got back on the tail end of the lead lap with the timing of a caution, and so did Levi McIntyre. They're now up here inside the top 15. Oh, we got a spin back there. That was Jessica Shelton in the 0-2. I think she and William Hoer might have gotten together. Yellow flag waves, and we've got smoke here on the back straightaway off of 2, Rick Johnson and Dylan Poteet. And I don't think this had anything to do with what happened off of turn 4. Rick Johnson, former winner this season at Texas. Dylan Poteet, it has started out so well, and it's just gone downhill from there for the 31 car. James Qualls has got some front end damage now that he didn't have before. And I know Shelton was the one I saw around in turn 4. So there was a lot of stuff that took place here in the last couple of laps. Let's see if we can figure out all of it. I don't think the 31 and the 93, their thing had anything to do with the Shelton spin. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Let's find Shelton in the 0-2. I thought she and William Hoer might have been the two that got together. Nope. Alright, so 2 unrelated things. Qualls, Matthews getting into it. Poteet and Johnson. Let's go back, rewind it back. I think actually we had a wreck that brought out the caution, and then a wreck coming back to the caution in hindsight. Who is it that goes around though? The 93? Does he get hooked? Oh yeah. Oh, runs James Qualls out of room. And nowhere for Poteet to go. There's where Kyle Matthews is involved. McCrory's going to pass by. Qualls with another shot there. And to Kyle Matthews. The caution's out at this point. And then let's find the 0-2 of Shelton. There she is. They're racing back to yellow. And who's going to tag her? Oh, it was a... Oh, she gets into the left rear of Caleb Fogler. Man, it's a big shot for the 28. And then she spins around in front of the 83. Be a little concerned about that left front damage on the 28 of Caleb Fogler. Oh man, you can see definitely left side damage there too. That was a pretty big impact. So we had a wreck and then a follow-up wreck. Fogler has not come to pit road. I am amazed about that because that was a pretty good shot into the inside pit wall. But we are going to, I think, go back green with either 10 to go or less than 10 to go. So that means that the only lap machines now, Ali Liera and Benjamin Snyder, will restart single file, mixed in with the lead lap cars. Young Motorsports right now shows the way, with RJ Bishop and Dylan Young 1 and 2. Reese Banks is in 3rd. Ryan Brommer 4th. Austin LaPlante 5th. 6th is Cody Lamas. Ryan Butcher, I cannot believe he is back up here now in 7th. Nathan Ormond's 8th. 9th, Joshua Osborne, and Nick Gunther is 10th. Levi McIntyre, another driver that has mounted a great comeback. He's up to 11th. 12th for Quentin Moore. Chris Dollerton, Mitchell Collins, and Benjamin Miles. That's the top 15. Being told the 70 of James Qualls has been issued a black flag. He'll have to serve it here on this restart, as Dylan Poteet and Rick Johnson out of the race after what we saw there, our latest caution, joining Jesse Turner and Jose Mills in the garage area. Ford has 2 victories here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Jose Mills and Dylan Young picking up those victories. Toyota has 2 victories and Dodge has won. Chevrolet has never won here, nor has Mazda. Could that change today? 10 laps to go here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. And Dylan Young wastes no time. He wants to get around that lap car of Ali Liera. Ryan Brommer is going to try and make quick work of Reese Banks to move to third place. Can we finish this 10-lap sprint under green? Bishop started this race from the pole, led 12 laps, got shuffled way back in the field, has fought his way back up, still looking for his first career win, despite this being his 4th pole on the season. Dylan Young also looking for his first win on the year. 35th in points, so really needs something good to happen. Even if he walks away with a second place finish, he will get maybe his best finish of the season by far. And Ryan Brommer, we already documented about him, just above the cut line, 29th in points. Right now he is in the 3rd position, trying to make it back-to-back years that Auto Junction Racing Toyota goes to victory lane here. You saw Qualls, he just completed his pass-through penalty as here's a good battle, 3-way battle for 4th. Oh, Reese Banks gets spun into the wall right in front of Nick Gunther. Big hit taken by the 55. I think the 88 of Jack Dunnard also was collected. Caution's going to fly for the 10th time today, and I think we are going to get back green. That is not what RJ Bishop wanted to see, as he had opened up almost a 0.6 of a second gap back to his teammate Dylan Young. And things are about to get very interesting. That's the car that I saw get spun out. That is a tough break. Reese Banks was up there inside of the top 10. Had nowhere to go. Will Hoer's on pit road. Jack Dunnard's on pit road. Oh, there's more drivers back there. Carson Gum, Samuel Ryder, and Nick Gunther, all littering the pit lane. Some of those drivers are actually up inside of the top 10. And just like that, what was looking to be a very promising finish and a good points-paying day suddenly goes up in smoke, and very quickly our garage area is beginning to fill up. Mitchell Collins in the 33, last week's winner, 2-time winner on the season. Must have been caught up because we didn't see him. He had already made the left-hand turn into the garage area. Let's see who got the 44. It's going to be Levi McIntyre, who was already 3 wide there with Ormond and Moore. Oh, there's the shot for Nick Gunther. There's Collins, Hoer. Track's just blocked up. Someone gets flipped over. It's Carson Gum in the 19. He gets toppled over onto his roof. Jessica Shelton, Daniel Voiles there. McCrory, I think, got a piece. Kyle Matthews was blocked up behind. 63 of Samuel Ryder, the 39 of Keith Batson. It's hard to tell if they got any part of the incident since they were already wearing battle scars. Let's see if we can find out who it was that flipped the 19 of Carson Gum over. Maybe this camera shot will give us that vantage point. Oh, just nowhere for these guys to go. Oh, it was a combination of Shelton and Voiles that flipped the 19 over. That was a very weird way for a car to flip. And for the drivers that were involved in this, even if there's ones that are able to continue, the loss of track position that they got here, now they've got less than 10 to go, and there's going to be very difficult for them to be able to gain that track position back. So how many laps will we have is the question, and wow, when I said the garage here was going to fill up, it filled up. Before that caution, it was just Dylan Poteet, Rick Johnson, Jesse Turner, and Jose Mills. Now add to that list Rob Evans, Jessica Shelton, Will Howard, Jack Dunner, Nick Gunther, Mitchell Collins, Samuel Ryder, and Carson Gum. We, at the halfway point, had all 42 cars still running in this race. When we get ready to go back green, there will be 29 drivers running and 26 on the lead lap. Add Reese Banks to the list of drivers that are officially out of the race. They had him on pit road, tried to see what they could do. Unfortunately, they had to push him back into the infield. So that is 12 drivers, I believe, that are out of tonight's event. 13 drivers out of tonight's event. My gosh. I said that these late restarts were going to be crazy, and I think that proved it right there. We may not be done with cautions. This race could still end under yellow. You see that we got the lights out in the pace car, so 1 lap to green. However, it will be with 3 laps to go. Next flag will end the race, whether it be the white flag or the caution. RJ Bishop the leader, Dylan Young second, Ryan Brommer third. May come down between those 3 because you got the lap machine of Oliveira between 3rd place and 4th place, Cody Lamas. Austin LaPlante's in 5th. Then another lap machine of Benjamin Snyder before you get to 6th place, Ryan Butcher. Nathan Orman 7th, Quentin Moore, Chris Dallerton, and Levi McIntyre. That is the top 10 as we get ready to go back. Green flag racing here. RJ Bishop in for maybe the restart of his life, looking for his first career win in the Duracell Cup Series, trying to deny the hometown boy Dylan Young from his 2nd career win at this very racetrack, the Chicago Motor Speedway. 3 seasons ago, he took the checkered flag, looking to double down. Green flag back in the air. Good restart there by RJ Bishop. Now Kenny Nail turns 1 and 2 and not overdrive it. He's got nobody in front of him, a little wide there. Dylan Young trying to capitalize, but it could be a nice exit for RJ Bishop on the back straightaway. Cody Lamas into the wall on the back straightaway. Oh, and he's having to come to pit road. Oh, we got some drivers on pit lane here that might have got penalties. McIntyre, Osborne, and Benjamin Miles might have gotten restart violations or something. We'll try and figure out all of that. 2 laps to go here. It's Bishop versus Young. And Brommer's right there as well. Don't count out the 87. Man, Liera way up the track, but the top 3 did not mess up the corner. Still nose to tail. Let's see if we can keep it green back here out of turn 4 and receive the white. What will Dylan Young do? He's there within striking distance. I think turns 1 and 2 is going to be the deciding factor here. Coming to the white flag. Dylan Young, is he within striking distance? Bishop had a good turn 4. White flag is waving. RJ Bishop has started on the pole 4 times this season. He's yet to get a checkered flag. Today may be the difference, as he is still opening up the gap back to Dylan Young. Traffic merging ahead. Don't know if that will be a factor or not. Into 3 and 4. Dylan Young, 1 last-ditch effort. Bishop had to bail out of the throttle through the center, but so did Dylan Young. RJ Bishop's finally going to get it done. His first career win in the Duracell Cup Series takes place today at the Chicago Motor Speedway. 4th win on the season for Young Motorsports, and first career win for RJ Bishop. His first full-time capacity of running all 36 races. He was a non-charter entry back in Season 4. He was one of the Tri-Terry drivers back in Season 5, so only made 12 starts. But finally gets it done here today. Had to hold off his teammate to do it. And Bishop, while the graph might look like a bit of an earthquake, goes from pole to win, coast to coast here today, and captures Ford its 3rd win here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Still uncertain of why we had those drivers have to come to pit lane there in the closing stages. McIntyre, Joshua Osborne, I believe Quentin Moore and Benjamin Miles all had to hit pit lane. I don't know if there was restart violations or what. But nonetheless, it doesn't change the fact that RJ Bishop is your winner here today. What a wild 88 lapper this one was. And it's a 1-2 finish for Young Motorsports. Ryan Brommer is going to bring it home with a solid run in 3rd. LaPlante in 4th place. 5th place for Chris Dallerton. So the 3 drivers that led 20 or more laps finished inside the top 5. LaPlante had 20 laps led, 22 for Bishop, and 27 for Dallerton. Chris Dallerton, is this enough for him to get back into the top 30 in the point standings? We'll have to wait and see. Michael Norman, the points leader coming to this race. Great run for him in 6th. Matt Haas, 2nd in points, wasn't that far behind in 11th. Caleb Fogler, Cole Deaver, Charles Sanford, and Zachary Fitzwater going to complete the top 10. Good runs for all of those drivers. Reggie Fogelman, 1 week removed from his engine failure. He gets 12th. Destin Boland, he had an early issue, and he bounced back to get 13th. Daniel Voiles, 14th place. I don't think this will put him in the top 30 in points, but it's a step in the right direction. Laura Chung had a spin early on. she's going to finish 15th. Noah Hendrickson, Keith Batson, Kyle Matthews, 18th. Is that enough? Ooh, I don't know. I'm looking right now, and a lot of drivers around him in points finished a little bit better. McCrory finished right behind him in 19th. Brommer finished up in the top 3. LaPlante finished in the top 5. Fogelman, Laura Chung had good runs. Maybe he might be able to displace Benjamin Snyder in the top 30 in points. So we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be very close there for Kyle Matthews. He may just be a couple of points outside the top 30. Cody Lamas got kicked up there to the outside line, hit the wall, had to make a late pit stop because of it. He's going to suffer a 20th place finish when he probably should have finished top 10. Ormond, McIntyre, Butcher, and Osborne complete the drivers on the lead lap. Then you got the rest of these drivers that finished a lap down. Quentin Moore, Liera, Snyder, Miles, and Qualls. And then out of the race after 10 cautions today, Evans on down through Mills. If you're looking at the drivers that this is really going to hurt points-wise, well, obviously, James Qualls and Rick Johnson, they were 4th and 5th coming into this race. Nick Gunther, he was 9th. So not the run that he was looking for. Ali Liera was trying to stay in the hunt for a playoff position. She was 12th in overall points, so that's going to hurt her. And we'll have to wait and see who is where when all is said and done. With RJ Bishop getting this victory and being 16th in points, that's going to knock another driver getting in on points out of contention, at least at this point in time. And Kyle Matthews did indeed get back up in the top 30 in points, and even maybe if Chris Dallerton got back up in the top 30 in points, we could have as few as 2 drivers on our playoff grid next week that are in contention via where they are in points. So things are starting to get a little bit congested here, and we've still got 8 more races to go before the playoff grid is put together. But congratulations to RJ Bishop on his first career win, the Duracell Cup Series that takes place here today at the Chicago Motor Speedway. If you enjoyed today's race, be sure to give us a like, subscribe part of the crew today. We showed you full figure results. These are what the point standings look like heading into next week as we are heading to the Northeast at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. After that, we're going to be going to the Charlotte Roval for some road course racing. It is the 3rd of our 5 showcase races, so you'll see the showcase drivers as they continue to battle for their championship, and then the main event drivers will take over for the second half of that road course race in their attempts to try and get a spot in this season's playoffs. But until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.